Hello and welcome to this quick video showing you how to get connected to the C2K wireless network when using an ActivPanel. This video will cover all versions of the ActivPanel, although for the purposes of this video I'm using the latest panel, the ActivPanel 10, but I will mark the differences when it comes to this. To these changes. So we're using an ActivPanel 10 and therefore we're using the Android module which is called the OPSA 2 that comes with the ActivPanel 10 here, although it won't really matter because what you're just trying to do for your first step is get to the settings app. Now it will depend on your panel, but on an ActivPanel 10 or an OPSA 2 you get to the settings app by swiping up anywhere on the screen and your settings app will be in here somewhere. On an ActivPanel 9 you will find you have a bar very similar to the bar I have along here and a similar-ish icon to this. When you click on that, that should open your locker, and this is what you call this here. This is your locker of apps. So when you go into your locker on the 9, the settings app will also be in there. If you're using a 7, you will also find that you have a bar of apps along the bottom and a bar of apps on the left and the right hand side of the screen that you can also tap on. In there will also be a locker of apps. I believe on the 9 it's called applications, but on this it's called locker, on a 7 it's called locker as well. Essentially you get to where all your apps are. If you're using a different panel such as an LE or an LX, again you're looking for your locker there, you're swiping up and you're finding your apps. But get your settings is the first step. So find your settings and tap on them. Your settings will open up here. You'll have a lot of different options down the left hand side, and when you click on one of them it'll open up on the right hand side. As you can see here, we're actually in network already. Don't be tempted to go straight for network because sometimes there's a couple of wee things to check before you do that. So the first thing is scroll right down to the bottom, near the bottom, and you've got a system option here. You can see it just there. If you tap on system, these are the options you get. Now what we're looking for here is date and time. So click on date and time. You'll then see the date and the time zone and all that sort of stuff. These are all correct according to today. These are fine. Even if they are correct, what I want you to do is where it says set time automatically and set automatically, if you toggle these off, as I've just done by clicking on that, and toggle them back on, all right, that should kick the Wi-Fi back on, or Wi-Fi, push the Wi-Fi to find the correct network when it's connected. What you might want to do if it's wrong is turn it off and then set it manually. Okay, so if it's on the wrong date, turn it off, set it manually, turn it back on again. Exactly the same for the time. It's not a guarantee that it'll fix this, but it's certainly something that has affected the Wi-Fi in the past. So check that, and then go right the way back up to network and internet at the top. If you're using a slightly different board, it might just say network, it might say internet, but you're looking for your Wi-Fi settings basically. Before you go into internet, just here, have a look at Ethernet and toggle into Ethernet, and you should see a toggle, and mine says Ethernet is disabled, which is good, so we want to make sure that's turned off. On older panels and different panels, you might not even need to click into Ethernet. You might just see a toggle beside it. Make sure it's toggled off. Go into internet, and then you're going to see your internet. Before you click on any internet connection, you probably see C2K wireless. I'm not on a school at the moment, hence why you can't see C2K. Instead, you can see my Virgin Media. Turn off the Wi-Fi, just like this, and then when you turn the Wi-Fi off, you should see an option. On a 10 it'll be something like this, on a newer panel it'll say something like this with the button change. On the older panels it'll say something like scanning settings, and you can click on the word scanning settings, and you click on the word change and make sure scanning settings is turned on. You don't need to do this, it's just something that I think helps with the bandwidth, helps with picking up Wi-Fi networks, should make things a lot quicker for you in terms of Wi-Fi speed. Then turn Wi-Fi back on, and now well, I'm connecting straight away obviously, but you wouldn't be doing that. You still won't connect because that's why you're watching this video. So you will have C2K wireless as an option here. So tap into that, and you'll then be invited to enter in the credentials. The credentials I have are here. All right, so I'm going to go over them here. So we've got the following ones here. I'm going to try and draw so you can see here. But in fact, tell you what, let's just show you this. It's probably just easier. Cool. Right, so let's highlight this here for you. So we've got security first of all. So security has got WPA, WPA2. That will probably already be set. So don't worry about that. It'll more likely already be set before you need to do anything. The things you'll need to change, I'm going to mark these in green, are this one, PAP or EPEEP method. So the first one you should be able to change should be PEEP. You might find, by the way, that security isn't something you need to change. It isn't even there. That's totally fine. If it's not there, you can ignore it. This one is the next we need to change. So it's phase 2 authentication, so it's MSC HIPv2. The next we need to change is this one. This is probably the most important one on here, CA certificate. In theory, you should, if you're using a 10, if you're using an LE, if you're using a 9, you should go to use system certificates. If you're using a 7 or an older panel, like a 6 or a 5, if you are connecting them, you should change that to do not validate. Okay, so that's two different. So it's use system certificates or do not validate. If one doesn't work, try the other. So this is the first one. So if you go to use system certificates, what you'll find is these 3 boxes here, and I'll mark these as blue, these 3 boxes here will all appear. They'll appear out of nowhere as soon as you click on use system certificates. And the one to make to be aware of is this one that says domain, which I'm now putting over in pink here, because you need to put a domain in. You can ignore the other 2, minimum TLS and online certificates. You can ignore those, but domain, you need to put one in, and that's the domain you need, c2kschools.net. Once you've put that in, you then put your identity. And your identity, as you know, will be your DANE number, SD wires. It'll be SD wires 3 or SD wires 4 now, as you know. So put that in. Your anonymous identity, I'm going to half highlight this because you'll need to leave it blank. Okay. Sometimes the system will put the word anonymous in there, and if that does, it won't connect. So make sure that's deleted. Make sure it before you click save or connect that is blank. And then the last one is your password, and of course that'll be associated very much with your identity password there. Now, if that doesn't work, you go back into it, you do it all again, but where it says online, or where it's a CA certificate, sorry, you go to do not validate. Now, if you do that, these guys won't appear. They won't appear there, and you'll just put in your identity, anonymous identity, leave blank, and then go to your password. If that all doesn't work for you, then what I would recommend you do is turn the panel off and on. Okay, so just turn it off, shut it down, turn it off the mains, give it a couple of minutes, turn it back on again. Then give it about 5 to 10 minutes. We have found the path. We've done all this. Everything's correct. Still won't connect. And then 5-10 minutes later, boom, it works straight away. And if it still doesn't work, then you can contact me at my details, which will be in the description of this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you get connected. Bye for now.